Hey folks, this is Steve VAI and you are watching Linea Rock.
Thanks, Steve. Welcome back to Italy.
Nice to be here.
Always a pleasure to have you here.
Piacere mio.
Thank you. And actually you have a very special connection and with Italy. I mean, for your origins and also because you're very much loved in our country. So, is your relation with Italy special as well?
Well, I think so. You know, I feel so because when I was growing up, my parents, their parents were from Italy.
Yeah.
So we had a lot of Italian tradition in our home, you know, and it was very nice. You know, it's very nice to have that kind of tradition. And Italian family is very tight.
Yeah.
And it was something that you always felt respected about your origins.
Yes.
But Italy seemed like such a faraway place because I was so young, you know, and I didn't know if I'd ever get an opportunity to go. And when I started playing guitar, I always felt it would be nice to be in Italy. And I got to go when I was 22 for the first time. In 1982, I toured with Frank Zappa. And we did a very extensive tour of Italy. And back then, not a lot of bands were coming to Italy.
Sure.
And it was almost like a shock. Because, you know, you grow up knowing your heritage and thinking that you're Italian. But when you go to Italy, you realize that you're very American, you know, and Italy is a very different place. The flavors, the sights, the culture, the architecture, the art, the music, it's so different than America.
Yeah.
And it was so charming. It was really beautiful.
And now that you know Italians and Italy well, what do you feel that it's the most typical Italian element in your attitude or in your music as well?
Well, Italians are very, they wear their feelings on their shirt, so to speak. You know, like they can be very dynamic, very intense, you know, maybe argue. But the next moment, there's a lot of love.
Yeah.
You know, it's very dynamic.
Yeah.
And I was born and raised in New York. And that's very much the trait of a New Yorker also. So that's something that I really am very fond of, just the way the Italians communicate.
And I know that Frank Zappa used to call you Little Italian Virtuoso, right? He was the first one to call you like that?
Yes, he was.
Okay. And are you still proud of it?
Well, it's very sweet.
Okay.
I mean,
so the story of Light comes 7 years after Real Illusions Reflections. Why did it take so long this time? And seems that in this new millennium your creativity is more selective in a sense.
Well, you know, one of my problems is I'm very interested in a lot of different things. Since the last studio record, I've kept very, very busy. I mean, I did a full 1-year tour with that band, and then I composed 2 hours of orchestra music and made an orchestra record in Holland with the Metropole. And that, you know, composing orchestra music takes a tremendous amount of focus and time. And that record was released with a DVD, and it's called Sound Theories and Visual Sound Theories. And that took like 2 years of solid time.
Was that a big challenge for you to compose for an orchestra and this as well?
Not necessarily a challenge. There's challenges, yeah. But it was a joy. It was something I always wanted to do. And I had done it before in the past, but it's very difficult to get your orchestra music heard.
Yeah.
When you're a contemporary composer and a guitar player. Yeah. And it went so well that you know, a neighboring orchestra heard about it, the North Netherlands Orchestra, and they commissioned me to write 2 symphonies.
Wow.
And, you know, a 30-minute symphony can take 5 months of 15-hour days. Yeah. And then they were performed. I have them recorded, but they're not released. So that was a couple more years. And then I put a band together with the 2 violin players, and I did a tour, and we made a DVD and a record that took a lot of time. Okay. And then I did a lot of various projects like Zappa Plays Zappa tours, and Experience Hendrix tours, and Alien Guitar Secrets Masterclass tours. And all these things were really great, but I just kind of got distracted, and then I thought, I want to I got to make a record and get on tour. And when I got on this tour, I realized that you know, what I do best is perform. Yeah. And so in the future now, I'm putting away all of that other stuff, and I'm focusing on my records and performing.
Okay. And you chose also to have your own label, Favored Nations, to release your own music and also to promote some other artists and new music. Yeah. What brought you to take this choice of founding a label? And do you choose personally the music and the artist? And what is your vision on the future of the music business in the matter, you know, of selling records?
Yeah. Well, I was always fascinated with the music business, you know, the business behind music. Yeah. You know, working with Frank Zappa, he was very independent. Right. So I always wanted to be very independent. And I've had record deals, but I understood how the record business worked, and I like the record business. It's can be very creative, you know, and when you take control of your own career, if you desire to do so, it's, you know, it can be done, and that's what I decided to do. And I didn't like the way conventional record deals were set up. Okay. So in creating the label, I created a model that I thought was very fair. You know, it's a 50-50 profit split. Okay. And I thought this would give a particular type of an artist the opportunity to sell the kind of records that they would sell, get out there and make a little money, and, you know, and it worked. It was working well, and then the industry shifted. You know, digital came along, and I always look to the advantages of new technology. A lot of people are like, oh no, it's all over, oh, we can't sell records anymore, but there's so much opportunity with new technology. And if you embrace it, you can do very well. As a matter of fact, right now, I think is the best time in history for an independent artist, because you can make your music available around the world digitally in 10 minutes. Yeah. You know, you can, if you're creative enough, you can make a YouTube clip that millions of people can see. But you do have to work, you know. And as far as where it's going in the future, if you look at the past, the way that we make music, the way that we package it and distribute it, and the way people receive it, and the way people listen to it, it's continually changing. Yeah. And it will continue to change. We always think that we are at the pinnacle of technology. But there's always technology around the corner that's going to baffle, surprise, and shock everybody. Yeah. So, you know, I have my ideas on where I think that would go. You know, we're always looking for convenience and speed, and, you know, so I would suspect someday, you know, you'll have the ability to have all the music that's ever been recorded, you know, just by voice command, and you can hear it by things that you don't even see, you know, and you'll experience it in a complete surround, almost holographic way.
Isn't that a bit scary, or not?
That's exciting to me. Okay. Would you be excited about that?
Yes, I am. Okay.
Any music, just say, you know, sure. Okay, I want Tom Waits' new variations, you know, boop, there it is, and I'm listening to it. Yeah. That's about how long it should take.
And how is the typical day on the road in the life of Mr. Steve Vai?
Well, I do a lot of shows because I don't have to sing very much, you know, and I usually wake up at about noon. You know, and I get a couple of hours to, you know, I do a little meditation, or I go out and I jog, or I go around the city for a little bit, or I got to answer emails, you know. And then usually at 3 o'clock I do press for about an hour, and then at 4 o'clock, from 4 to 5, we have our premium package Evo experience where I meet and talk with fans. I enjoy that very much. And then we go right to sound check, and sound checks are usually pretty long because we just like playing. And that's like 5 to 6, 6:30. And then I come back here and I kind of get ready for the show. You know, I warm up a little bit, I do some exercises, I do some more meditating, and then there's the show, which is always a beautiful opportunity, you know. And then after the show, there's a little meet and greet with some friends and fans. And then after that, we get on the bus and we talk, or it's a very close family. Yeah. There's a lot of support and love. And, you know, we do simple things. and it's really, I enjoy it very much.
How many guitars do you own by now? How many do you bring on the road, and which are the 3 favorite ones?
I own 262 guitars this week. I don't collect vintage guitars really, I have a few, but because I work with Ibanez, we're always working on guitars, so I have like prototypes all the time, you know. And I probably bring about 12 to 15 guitars on tour. And my 3 favorite guitars are Evo, Flow 3, and Xavier.
Okay. You played with a lot of different and all very talented musicians through the years, on stage and in the studio. What does it take to play with Mr. Steve Vai, and do you choose musicians to collaborate with in the studio and on tour with any different criteria?
Well, it's according to the project. You know, if I'm doing something with an orchestra, I need, you know, musicians who can read music, you know. If I'm putting a band together, the first thing I look for is people that have a good disposition.
Okay.
You know, people that are confident within themselves and are good, fun people. Because when you go on tour, there's no secrets at sea. You know, you're living very tight. And if somebody is kind of like a jerk, when you get on tour, they become really big jerks, you know. And if somebody's really you know, fun and considerate, and when they go on tour, they become a lot of fun and very considerate. And they have to be able to play. You know, they got to be able to understand my music, and they have to be able to play it. And I'm fortunate. I found a lot of great musicians. And then when I'm in the studio, it's according to what I'm doing. You know, sometimes I need a really great keyboard player for something, so I hire somebody. Jeremy Colson has been my drummer for quite some time. He's really fantastic. And there's several bass players I use. I like Phil Bino, he's in the band now, he played on my last record. And I usually do everything else.
Do you consider the G3 experience a kind of vacation in a sense from all the rest?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
That's the feeling we have, so it's correct.
Yeah, the G3 is very special.
Okay.
You know, first I love Joe. You know, he's a mentor. Yeah. And it's kind of a simple tour. Because I don't do a big set. It's not all on my shoulders, you know. And I get to play with really great guitar players. You know, they really raise the bar. They push you to do the best thing you can do.
Yeah.
You know. And it's a very good family.
Again, family.
That's
a thing very important for you. While touring with Zappa's band back in the days, you sometimes asked the fans to bring musical scores and see if you could sight read them on the spot. Do you remember the hardest or the most bizarre they brought?
That's a wonderful rumor.
Okay.
And I'd hate to dispel it, but no. The music that I received to play was only Frank's.
Okay.
And that was challenging enough, trust me. Frank would sometimes stay up all night and write music and then bring it in.
All right.
And, you know, he wouldn't necessarily expect you to sight read it. It'd be nice if you can. And some things I could sight read, but Frank's music is, I don't know anybody that can sight read it, except maybe Vinnie Colaiuta, you know, or Ruth Underwood or something. But you have to be able to understand it and learn it.
You won 3 Grammy Awards. What does it mean to a so, you know, preciously creative artist like you to win a prize like that?
Well, it used to mean something different than what it means now. You know, there's a lot of mystique in receiving a Grammy, obviously, and if you're positioning your career to grow in the eyes of the public, things like Grammys are, you know, indispensable. I mean, they're very powerful tools. So in one sense, I saw them as opportunities to wear a little badge. You know, says, I got a Grammy, I got 3 Grammys, you know. But a part of me also feels that it's just, you know, you put your head down and you work as hard as you can on your craft. And you know, somebody says, you know, taps you on your shoulder, and you go, yeah, and they say, hey, you're doing pretty good. And you go, oh, thanks, you know, and you go back to work, and they say, you know, hey, you changed my life. Hey, you know, your music is so important to me. I'm like, oh, thank you, you know. And then one day somebody taps you on the shoulder and goes, hey, you got a Grammy, and you're like, whoa. You know, and it's very nice to feel like your contribution is being appreciated. And having said that, though, you can't measure music. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't really participate in any of that stuff anymore. You know, because something doesn't sit right with me about awards, and I mean, it's like I say, it's nice to be recognized, but it's kind of like when you start putting people on top of people, as this is being better, or this is being, you know, getting the most points, or this guitar player is better than that guitar player, you're kind of defeating the purpose of enjoying the diversity that the universe offers.
Yeah.
You know, and just enjoying everything as equally, because everybody feels that their work is important, and most people are very passionate about it. And when you start judging it introduces a different kind of a dynamic to the artist, you know? Yeah. So in all due respect.
Okay, last question for today. Do you still consider the Deadly Rock years some of the most exciting of your career, thinking, you know, back to it?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. You know, back then in the 80s, to be in David Lee Roth's band was amazing. It was really exciting. There was crazy, wild, wonderful things going on every night. And we were playing to tens of thousands of people a night. And the parties were notorious. And we really played, you know, we played our asses off.
I was there, so I remember.
Yeah. I think I recognize you.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks very much for your time, and always a pleasure to have you in Italy, and I'm sure we will see you again very soon.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.